Hey family, Dr. Jackie here, and thank you for coming back to this channel. You're so appreciated, and if you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you're just peeking in or lurking in or whatever your reason is for being here today, I welcome you also. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about generational dusties. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Generational dusties. And before I get into today's topic, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't had a chance to, and don't forget to hit that bell up in the corner so that you'll be notified whenever I post new content or when I go live. So you want to make sure you get all the notifications going forward, because we're going to be talking about some things that I think are relevant to our community. And a lot of things just need to be said. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. A lot of things just need to be said. So if you're curious about today's topic, we're going to be talking about generational dusties and the reason why I believe it's getting worse. I'm talking specifically about our community, men and women of color, in particular, black women, black men, and the whole gender wars dynamics that's going on right now in our community. And I say generational dusties because, guys, I'm speaking to you from the perspective of someone who's over 50, okay? And what I'm seeing is the millennials and the Gen Zs and the Gen Xs, they're having the same struggles. You guys are having the same struggles that my generation had years ago when we were in our 20s and 30s and 40s. We had the same issues, and I can only ascribe that to the fact that what we have passed down to you guys has been toxic, has not been the right ideas or the right way to go about building healthy relationships and connections. And before I get into my thoughts on today's topic, I just want to apologize on behalf of the baby boomers and the people that came before me, before my generation. This gender wars, these dynamics, they didn't just start with millennials. They didn't just start with 20 and 30 and 40 year olds. This was passed down from generation to generation, even before my generation. And I think about how I was raised and how I was taught to think about relationships. And, even though my parents meant well, and I'm sure they did, much of what was passed down to even the baby boomers of my generation was dysfunctional. And I'll probably get into that a little bit more in this video. But before I talk about generational dusties and my take on it, I want to apologize to you guys because this is not helpful. This climate is not sustainable. It's ridiculous. And I see comments made on social media across different platforms, and it's black men against black women against black men. And this is unsustainable. If we're going to have a healthy community, then we have got to come to terms with what's been passed down and what's so toxic about it. I'm seeing comments and content creators that are my age and older spewing toxic lies and dysfunction that I grew up with, and which is the reason why our generation was so messed up, and this stuff is being passed down to you guys. So what do I mean about generational dusties? What do I mean by that term? Now, this is something that I've come up with and just in my thought process. First of all, what's a dusty? All right. And a dusty can be a man or a woman. All right. But I'm speaking from a woman's perspective on men. I'm a woman, so I'm speaking from a woman's perspective and my experience dealing with dusties. You can be a quote unquote high value dusty, or you can be an average dusty or a low value dusty. Now, these categories of dusty are really definitions that are now circulating in the manosphere and in certain content creators' videos about what it means to be high value and what it means to be average. High value is defined for purposes of this video as someone who has a high net worth in terms of money. Doesn't speak to the quality of that individual's character, okay? Because really certain content creators, and in particular the KS content creator, is promoting or seems to be promoting, or the impression that he's promoting on his platform is that if a black woman in particular, is to be in search of a quote unquote high value man, this is someone who has a particular net worth in terms of income, speaks nothing about his character, because she has to also be okay with the fact that this man has options and that he has the right to exercise his options, and that she has to be okay with that if she intends to have a life or be a wife of a high value man. And this is totally ridiculous. It is ridiculous to suggest that because someone has a certain level of income, that it's okay for him not to have any type of character traits that would encourage him to be faithful, or for him to even think that it's necessary for him to be faithful to this woman, but that because he has a certain level of income, that it's okay for him to have options that he exercises, and to expect that a woman who comes into his life as his wife to be okay with the fact that he has options that he can exercise. Now that is totally ridiculous, and it flies in the face of faithfulness, because I don't know many women, and I'm speaking for myself and I'm speaking for women that I know are high value women, that I know that, can equal his income in terms of value, if you just want to talk about money alone, and probably even in many cases exceed what he makes, that would be okay with a man having options. I mean, I'm from the mindset, or I have the mindset that, I want to be in a relationship with someone, and I know a lot of women are like me, who want to be in a relationship with someone who just wants them. Now, that's not to say that, no other women are going to be attractive to him, and, he's not going to see other people, as being beautiful or gorgeous. That is, that's human nature. But to go into a relationship with a high value man, and with the understanding or the expectation that it's okay for him to cheat, basically is what that message sends, is that it's okay for him to cheat. And as his wife or as his woman, you are expected to be okay with that. That's what I call a generational dusty, because that the content creators like Kevin Samuels and men that are, in my age group, 50 and over, that spew this nonsense, are poisoning the minds of the younger generation. And it's causing, even an escalation in these gender wars that are happening across social media. So again, I want to apologize because that is not sustainable. That's not beneficial for either the man or the woman. And like I said, it goes both ways. I don't believe that men should cheat, period. I don't believe that women should cheat, period. If you decide to be in a committed relationship with someone, then that should be it. And if you decide to have options that you want to exercise, then don't get married. It's really just that simple. It really is just that simple. Don't get married. Don't lock anyone down or give them the impression or have the discussion that this is going to be an exclusive relationship if you know that you have options that you want to exercise. And that's ridiculous. And you wonder why so much damage is done to people, to men and women in our community. It starts with this mindset. So whether you're a Kevin Samuels supporter or Any other support anybody else that spews this kind of nonsense and ridiculous content that's being created. I caution you to really think about what it is that you're consuming in your spirit, in your mind, and in your decision making in terms of relationships. So, yeah, the high value man, if he has options that he wants to exercise, then don't get married. Don't subject someone else to your inability to control your urges. Okay, that's a personal problem that you need to deal with. And until you deal with it and can commit to one person, don't lock anybody down. Now, it's okay if you want to, as they used to say, sow your wild oats and all this kind of stuff. That's how you want to live your life, then live your life that way. But don't involve someone else in that mess, in that nonsense, in that ridiculous situationship kind of stuff, and expect them to be okay with it. Now, granted, maybe there are. Hey, we live in a new day, right? We live in a new age, a new way of thinking. And maybe there are women out there and men who are okay with their significant other, their husband, their girlfriend, their boyfriend. Maybe they're okay with them having multiple partners. I know, I know specifically of a situation where a woman married this guy that I used to date. And the reason we don't date anymore is because he wanted to exercise his options. Of course, he didn't want to tell me about it. And when I found out about it, I bounced. Okay. So what did he do? He went and found someone who was okay with him exercising his options and still being his wife. Now, they have a, happy marriage from their perspective because why? She's okay with him having other women. So there are people out there who, are okay with those types of arrangements, those types of situationships. And hey, more power to you if that's you. And this video is probably not for you. But for those of us who seek and desire exclusive relationships with one person, then it's not okay for us to embrace this content that's being created right now, that it's okay to have multiple partners. That's my definition of a generational dusty. He can be high value and have a dusty way of thinking. Okay? He can be high value and have no character. He can be a high income earning individual and have no compass of morality. And so, yeah, when I say generational dusties, I'm not just talking about the Pookies and Ray Rays that, have the air mattress and, have roaches crawling around their Section 8 apartment. I'm not just talking about those people. I'm talking about anyone who embraces the idea and the notion that it's okay to exercise multiple options. I refer to you as a dusty. Whether you have money or not, whether you're quote unquote high value or not, if you have a dusty way of thinking, then it doesn't matter how much money you make. Until you change the internal you, the external you will never change. It will remain the same. So, yeah, generational dusties, yeah, we started this crap. I wouldn't say we started it, but we perpetuated it because it was passed down to us from generations before us. And yeah, it's getting worse. Sadly, it's getting worse. So yeah, just be mindful of who you date, who you allow into your space, who you choose to be in a relationship with, and make sure you're on the same page in terms of how you think about relationships and whether you choose to be exclusive or not, because you can choose to be exclusive and they can say they want to be exclusive, but if their actions demonstrate otherwise, then you have some choices to make, right? You have some choices to make. So yeah, make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure that you ask the right questions. And if you're not getting the answers that you need, or if the answers that you're getting don't line up with what you see, bounce.